All right, you guys. So when we were up in Harrisburg at the Great American Outdoor Show, this dude had this block and tackle. And I was like, I'm going to be hanging some heavy stuff. He's like, oh, it'll work. Well, we're about to find. All right, you guys. So, welcome to Deer Meat for Dinner. This is the uncensored portion of this show. That is a tank. Holy macaroni. All right. If I were you, this is how I would do it. First things first, cut off this joker's tail. Just like that. Big old giant boar hog tail. Throw it in the trash can. Put a loop around his leg like that, because otherwise he's going to be slinging around, and you don't want that. You want him to be nice and steady, just like that. I just cut around the ankles on the front and back legs. Make sure when you do that you don't cut that tendon. That tendon is what's holding the weight of the animal. Now, a lot of you guys have seen me do this before. I'm going to cut from the front of this foot, follow that crease. See that crease right there? Follow it all the way down, all the way to there. One contiguous cut, just like that. A lot of times, people want to blame a bad mount on the taxidermist, but in real life, it's actually a bad cape. So the taxidermist had a poor cape to work with, which is why the mount came. Now, there are some bad taxidermists out there. That ain't no joke. But the better the cape, the better product that you give your taxidermist, the better job he's liable to do with your mount. And this is how I suggest doing it. I always grab that hide like this and I roll it in my hand and then just, I mean, this is a warrior of a hog. You can already see his shield starting to build up there. This mount is going to come across right about there. So what I'll do is, from the inside out, I'll just cut this skin just like that. And this is going to peel. Man, nice fat hog, healthy. That's going to go right over the back. You just want your knife just to find its home. And take your time. The more times you do this, the more familiar you will be with it. See how I cut through that hide there? You don't want to do that up near the shoulders where you're gonna have your mount done. Now, if you do have a hole up there, it's not the end of the world. It's not like they can't fix it. It's just the more they have to fix, you know, the more chances are you're gonna see it. Follow that ham. I mean, this hog is just so nice and healthy. You can cut a little hole like that, give you something to hang on to. Now, this is the key. You want to give your taxidermist enough cape to work with. So once I get underneath the hams, then I'm going to go ahead and just cut all this off. Doesn't have to be super even. Now, that we don't need. Everything else on the hog, we're gonna need. So now we want to start really taking our time and showing off our skills. A big boar hog like this is gonna have a very heavy shield, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a second. Follow this right here. Get in between the shoulder. Ooh, yeah. I mean, this sucker's got a shield, boy. That ain't no joke. Now watch, it's gonna literally, this shield will just fold off his back. This area is gonna be the chest of the mount. It'll be highly visible area on the mount is all of this hide here, so definitely take your time. Like, this area is much more important than the back per se. So if you cut the back, not that big of a deal. Chest, bigger deal. And just now watch this. This whole shield will just peel right down. Now, you have a perfectly caped out wild hog. 2 hours ago, he was destroying a cow pasture. Now, he's ready for the taxidermist. And in just a second, we're gonna quarter him out. He'll be ready for a sausage grinder. That's a perfect cape to take to the taxidermist. Make sure it doesn't get hot. Make sure you keep it cold. You can throw it in a cooler with a bunch of ice or wrap it up and put it in a freezer. But something this big might need to have a big freezer. If you were to see this belly fat right here, that on a domestic hog would be like that thick. And that's where your bacon comes from. In here on a piece of beef on a cow, that's where your filet mignon comes from. But we're just gonna cut these tenderloins out. This is the actual tenderloin. Now that's typically got a lot of fat around it. Not a lot of fat in it, but a lot of fat around it. You can take your hands, dig it out, just like this. And take, and this fat should peel right off, leaving you with a beautiful tenderloin. This is your hand coming down. Cut right down the inside of your backbone there. Take your fingers and you just, it's tender, so it's gonna come out really easy. Every time. Happens just the same way with a deer, an elk, an antelope, a goat, anything else. Just all that will literally peel right off, and you're left with a tenderloin. Now you've got two perfect halves. We're going to make a really big brine. Brine this thing, let all that wild boar hog gamey flavor come out. Then we're going to break it down, whether we're going to grill it, smoke it, grind it into sausage, who knows. But that's how you take a negative, as in a evasive or invasive species that roots up and destroys land, and turn it into some valuable food. We can eat it, I can give it to friends, or I can give it to people who need meat.